So more and more leaks have come out about the Jadon Sancho situation, and to be honest, it's just boring. So I'm basically just going to talk about the leaks rather than give my opinion on it, because you know how I feel at this stage. I'm fed up with the leaks. I'm fed up with Sancho, that the manager. But leaks have come out basically saying Jadon Sancho doesn't like Antony, he's annoyed about Antony this and that. But even more shocking leaks have basically come out and said that, oh yeah, Jadon Sancho, he'll play again for United. He said he'll play again for United if Ten Hag goes. So you're basically telling me Sancho's sitting there hoping we lose, hoping his teammates lose. So Ten Hag sat so we can play again. We'll get into the Sancho leaks. He said, I'm just bored of it, to be honest. Also, we've got reports that Martial wants to leave United. Had a conversation with Ten Hag saying he wants to leave at the end of the season because he wants to become a regular starter. However, Martial, just because he wants to leave Manchester United, is still going to act like a professional. Is still going to train. Is still going to play, and then he'll get his summer move. Hopefully, I think he will have to get a summer move because I'm pretty sure his contract expires. But we will talk about that. And then we have news about Manchester United centre-backs, the whole scenario. We are looking at right-wingers. We are looking at centre-backs, heavily scouting. We're also heavily scouting in South America. We'll discuss a little bit of that end of the video, maybe in my live stream tonight. So do subscribe for that because I will be live at 6 o'clock. And then just various reports like people saying, oh, is De Gea coming back? No, he's just sorting something with his house in Manchester. He's not returning to United. But we're going to start with the Sancho story. Might as well dive into this here. And this was the bit that kind of annoyed me. It was said Jadon Sancho was not ready to give up on his United career, especially one under a different manager, should Erik Ten Hag depart amid the club's struggles. And I saw someone go, yep, Sancho, true professional, he's not ready to give up. This is all Erik Ten Hag's fault. Read this. Read this. This is Sancho basically saying, oh, I'll come back to United if Ten Hag's sacked. I'm not going to give up. I'm going to hope that the team play bad, we keep losing, so Ten Hag sacked and I'll come back to United. That is essentially what this says. He will come back to United under a different manager. And it's just like, this is just embarrassing. And do you know what annoys me? Because in Sancho's statement, he goes, I love United. I'll give everything to the badge. I'll give everything to his fans. You lied in your statement. You called Ten Hag a liar, but you lied in your statement. You said you give everything for United. If you gave everything for United, you would have apologised weeks ago. You would have seen that Antony wasn't available. You would have said, I'm sorry, Ten Hag, I wasn't stupid. Even if you didn't mean it deep down and you thought Ten Hag was wrong, you'd go, it's 4 games into the season. He only played Antony ahead of me 4 games into the season. It's unlikely he would have done that 10 games into the season had you trained harder. Everything going on with Antony. For me, I just think, he said in his statement he really cares about United, wants what's best for United. Obviously, he doesn't. And honestly, the whole situation is just boring. And I was reading some of the leaks because iPaper Sport and Jack Talbot obviously sort of went into the leaks, and they basically said the story from Sancho's point of view. They basically said that Sancho's kind of annoyed at Antony, all of that thing, of Antony's presence, pretty much. So from Sancho's point of view, this is sort of why he's upset. So I'll get into this here. It was said from Sancho's point of view, the crux of the issue is that no matter how badly Antony plays, or no matter how many mistakes Antony makes, he always gets picked. Ten Hag favours him, and the Brazilian gets treated like the manager's golden child, and he knows it and acts like it. His signing last year has been the start of the issue between Ten Hag and Sancho. So essentially, Sancho's been fighting with a place with Antony, and he's annoyed because he doesn't want to fight for his place with Antony. That's essentially what it is. And to be honest, my first thought is Sancho always said he wants to play on the left wing, so surely he's picking a fight with the wrong person. Surely he should be annoyed at Rashford, although Rashford last season was undroppable with 30 goals. Yes, Antony wasn't particularly impressive last season, but was Sancho particularly impressive when he played last season? No. 9 times out of 10, Antony put in a better performance than Sancho. Sancho is a better player than Antony. Sancho on his day is better than Antony. I'd rather have Sancho on the right wing because I think he's a better player than Antony, but Antony's sometimes more impactful because he works hard off the ball. He does more off the ball. He makes the team play better. Sancho, you don't know what you're going to get. If Sancho has a good performance, he has a good performance. Do you know what I mean? But if Sancho has a bad performance, you'd rather Antony play because Antony's bad performances aren't worse than Sancho's bad performances because Antony works harder. So Sancho's kind of annoyed that Antony always gets picked. And part of me goes, look, I get that. I think Sancho had a good pre-season. I think Antony was shocking opening 2 games of the season, and I don't know how Sancho didn't start. But if Sancho didn't start because Ten Hag thinks he was being lazy in training, and Ten Hag said you got to work hard in training, Ten Hag's probably doing that for Sancho's own good. It's 2 games into the season. Dalot used to continuously start over Wan-Bissaka. Lindelof's been rubbish and continuously starting over Maguire. McFred used to continuously start over Donny van de Beek. Did they act out? Did they cry? Not at all. Garnacho's been on the bench and Rashford's been starting over and playing poor. Is Garnacho acting out? No. Pellistri probably thinks he deserves to play more than Sancho and Antony. Is he acting out? No. You know what? No one else is acting out when this happens. And I think it's embarrassing for Sancho, because I get that, to be honest, Sancho had a good pre-season. I wanted him to start right wing instead of Antony, but Antony started right wing. Sancho had a hissy. If Sancho's going to have a hissy over 4 games into the season, Antony playing ahead of him, then it's embarrassing. It's not like we're 20 games into the season and Antony's been dreadful, and it's not like Sancho got 30 goals last season. Had Sancho played like Mo Salah, I'd understand a little bit why I'd be annoyed. But Sancho wasn't really good last season, bar 1 or 2 decent games at the end of the season, a decent pre-season, which for me, yeah, he could have started over Antony. But Antony does everything Ten Hag wants off the ball. Antony presses, Antony works hard. And we've seen these days with Manchester United, I think football is about hard work these days. We're not matching our opponent's athleticism. We're not working super hard at the moment, this side. And then when we get the wins, I'm always saying, oh, this team worked hard, this team fought. And I think in the world of football right now, sometimes what you do off the ball, putting 100% effort in, is so important. And I think we are a better team, you know, when Antony plays, not because I think Antony's a brilliant right winger, but I think because he works so hard off the ball. And it massively improves us, because I think we're losing games because basically we're lazier than the other teams. Anyway, continuing on, it was said that Sancho's contact has also seen his England opportunities dry up under Southgate, who will continue to overlook him before coming games. And when Sancho was decent at United and everything, obviously Southgate did drop him. Southgate's dropped him ever since the Euros, and one of the reasons Southgate apparently dropped Sancho was because in the Euros, Sancho wasn't being picked, he wasn't starting. He was basically making a fuss that he wasn't starting or not being picked. And look, maybe he believes he should have been picked in the Euros. Maybe he should have believed he should have been picked over Antony. He's got every right to believe that at the time. But it's the fact that he makes a fuss and kicks up a fuss about it. Sometimes you've got to be quiet. You just got to work as hard as you can in training and prove the manager wrong. Doesn't seem to want to do that. And it was said by Jack Talbot that Man United remain furious with Sancho, believing him to be unfit and nonchalant about his exclusion out of the side. And it's basically said with Sancho that United is so done with him. Like, I think even if he apologises, United are so done with him, because it's about what's been said. This guy is basically acting out because 4 games into the season, he hadn't got a start, you know. And yeah, Antony hadn't been great, but let's not act like Sancho's been fantastic. If Sancho had been playing like prime Messi last season and he wasn't getting in over Antony, I'd be like, what on earth? But was Sancho better than Antony last season? No. Do I think Sancho's a better player than Antony? Yes. Does Antony work harder? Yes. Is Antony more beneficial for the team right now? Yes. So I think that's Sancho's answer, but United seem to be done with him and just the way he's overreacting, and it's just boring. I'm actually bored of talking about it. Like, it's been 6 weeks and I'm still talking about it. And the reason I'm talking about it is because it's the main story in the news right now, and we just speak about what's sort of come out in the news and everything as well. But we've got some more stories on Anthony Martial. It was says that Anthony Martial does not want to continue in a backup role at Manchester United. So obviously Martial has been playing as a backup striker at United, and obviously Martial was sort of having conversations with United, and it was said that Manchester United star Martial reportedly has no intention of continuing to play as a backup striker at Manchester United as his contract nears to an end. It said that Martial's not interested in renewing his contract. He doesn't want to be a backup striker at Manchester United. Now, I don't think United will renew Anthony Martial's contract either, because he's on £250 a week, which is a lot for a backup player, and he's consistently injured. But it's mad to think that this is the season where we've had our worst injury crisis ever. We've had 13 different players out since the start of the season, and then 2 players have had disciplinary issues. So that's 15 players that have been unavailable since the start of the season. And technically, Martial's not one of them, which is absolutely crazy. But Martial doesn't seem too interested in staying at United. He said that Martial is not satisfied with his current situation where Højlund is the starter. But is Martial acting out like Sancho because Højlund's starting? Not at all. He's just going, you know what, I'm on the bench. I'm the bench option. My contract's up at the end of the year. I want to play regular football. There we go. That's how you act Martial. Look, I've always liked Martial. I've always been a big fan of Martial, but he's not. And NHS Martial, that lockdown season, he was unbelievable, but it's not been the same since. Injuries haven't helped him. I just think he's a bit slower. I think he's not as good. You can see the injuries have not helped him a bit. And I think the best thing for Martial is for him to move on and get regular game time. I like Martial. I think he's a good player, but he's been inconsistent and he's not really been good enough. And a lot of that is probably because of injuries and all of that as well. But his deal expires in June 2024. United do have the option of triggering a 1-year thing to keep him at the club another year, which if the Glazers are still here, maybe we do. Maybe we go against Martial's wishes and make him stay for another year, because We don't want to buy a backup striker to Højlund. That's something that could definitely happen if the Glazers are here. If we have new owners, particularly Qatari owners, good new owners, I think Martial will get his wishes. He'll be gone, and we'll bring in another striker, because I do know that Erik Ten Hag wants to bring in a striker, a right winger, 2 midfielders, and 2 centre backs, and potentially even look at a right back like Frimpong in 2024, which is 7 positions, which is only possible with the Qataris. Under the Glazers, you probably get 3. Under maybe another owner, you get 4 or 5. I think for me, in the summer, we need another striker, we need another right winger, we need a long-term DM replacement for Casemiro, and we need at least 2 centre backs. And then maybe the following summer, we can look at the Eriksen replacement and the right back replacement. But there's a lot to do. But anyway, I have been impressed with Martial so far this season. He's not amazing, he's nothing special, but he's stayed fit, and he's been decent when he played. But I think Højlund is the future, and I think it's good to sort of move on players like Martial that are on high wages. I think that's the big problem. We've got too many high wage issues, and what will be interesting is getting rid of Sancho, getting rid of Martial off the wage book, and maybe we can reconstruct our wages where we don't have anyone over 200 grand a week or something like that. I think Rashford's probably on 300 grand a week, but you know my point as well. Anyway, guys, please do smash that like button. Of course, subscribe down below if you're new. Share the video. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Bye.